What's up, YouTube friends? Now, last night we had a rainy, icy, windy, snowy storm. But this morning I woke up to this beautiful winter wonderland. Now, I like to keep a fan in my window year-round blowing out. It tends to get really hot and stuffy in my room, and since I always run hot, I'm sweating like a pig at night. The only problem is when the wind's blowing really hard, all I hear is this. Now, since I'm always on the lookout for the killer, you can imagine I had a very restless sleep. Every time the wind blew, I thought he or she was out to get me. So today, I'm going to show you how to make an upcycled, recycled denim draft stopper coming up next. So the first thing I did was go ahead and measure the inside of my door frame. For me, it was 31 inches. So to that, I'm going to add 1 inch for seam allowance, and I'm going to cut a piece of denim that's 31 inches long. Now you can make these for drafty windowsills, drafty doors like I'm doing right now, or even your fireplace. Now ideally the front of the pants would be best. You do have the most fabric, but a lot of the times your knees will be worn out and frayed, and you do not want frayed denim for this project. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip this over and use the back. Now of course I'll probably run into the pocket here to get my 31 inches, but that's not a problem. I'll go ahead and get my seam ripper and rip out the seams. So my piece of denim here that's 31 inches long, and for this one I do have a little bit of the pocket here, so I'm just going to take my seam ripper and easy peasy remove that little piece of pocket. Like I mentioned earlier, you can make these any size that you want, but I'm going to go ahead and make my rectangle 8 inches wide. So I'm just going to fold this in half, matching up right here. So now I'm just going to hack off this side first. And then measure down 8 inches. So now you should have a rectangle that looks like this, or to your measurements. So now with the right side facing up, I'm just going to go ahead and fold it in half the long way and throw a couple pins. So now I'm just going to take this over to my sewing machine and I'm going to sew down 2 of the sides. So starting right here, I'm going to back stitch. I'm going to sew down the long side. I'm going to pivot and sew down this one short side, leaving this one open. I'm then going to turn back around after back stitching, and I'm going to follow that same seam just to reinforce this. We do not want this to come apart. Alright, so I'm over here at my sewing machine. Today I'll be using a straight stitch, and my length is a 2.5. I'll be using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Now I have my walking foot on here, but you don't need your walking foot. So I'm just going to back stitch at the beginning. And just keep sewing. When I get a 1/2 inch away from the bottom here, I'm going to stop with my needle down. I'm going to raise my presser foot and spin. And sew. And don't forget to backstitch. Now just because I want this good and reinforced, I'm going to go ahead and flip it over and do the same thing all over again. So now I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to clip the corners, making sure I don't go through my threads. Just a little bit. And now you just want to turn this right side out. The easiest way I find is to use a chopstick. So I'm just going to kind of open up my tube and push it in. Insert my chopstick and pull my tube through. When you get it flipped right side out, you just want to go ahead and poke out your corners. And you should have a denim tube that looks like this. So now you just want to fill your draft stopper. You can fill these with anything that you want. You could use rice, popcorn, aquarium gravel, sand. But today, I'm raiding the bird food bucket. So I went ahead and made a simple paper funnel here that will fit into my draft stopper. And now I'm just going to fill it up with bird food. Alright guys, so I finished filling my draft stopper here with bird seed, and I don't fill it all the way to the top. I have a good 4 to even 5 inches left here. So now I'm just going to take a pin and I'm going to stick it right through my draft stopper just to keep my bird seed up on this part. Next I'm going to fold in the top a 1/2 inch, and you can just eyeball this part and stick another pin. So now I'm just going to take this back over to my sewing machine, and using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, I'm going to go ahead and sew the top closed. And I'll do that 2 or 3 times. So now I'm just going to go ahead and sew my opening closed, and I'll be using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Don't forget to backstitch at the beginning and the end, and I'm going to go ahead and go over this 3 or even 4 times. Now right here at the bottom where the seam is, this is really thick, so go nice and slow. Alright guys, so there you have it. Now the reason why I don't like to fill it all the way up is now it's nice and moldable and pliable, and it will fit right up into those nooks and crannies, keeping that cold winter wind from blowing through. Now let's go up to the bedroom and see if it works. So now let's give it a try. No rattly door. Now I can finally get some sleep. Now you could make these draft stoppers out of any thicker fabric that you want, like a canvas or a home deck fabric, but I would stay away from the quilter's cotton. It's just way too thin. And if you have children in the house, this easily becomes a weapon. You don't need bird food or whatever all over your house. I hope you give this project a try. If you like this video and want to see more of my videos, go down below and hit the big red subscribe button and give this video a big thumbs up. If you'd like to be notified as to when I post a video, hit that bell button. Head on over to Facebook and Twitter for Scrappy's Patch if you'd like to friend me there. If you have a question about this video or any of my other videos, or would just like to leave a suggestion for a future upcoming video, leave me a comment. Feel free to share this video across your social medias. And as always, thanks for watching. Stay warm this winter, and I'll see you next time.